Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Saharsh. Amazing. I will share my screen. Let's do this. Okay. Can you see my screen yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. You should be able to see it now. Wait, I'll just share again. Yeah, I'll actually start. I'll try to screen share in a minute again. Okay, so yeah, in this space, what we're actually going to do is just we're going to understand our responsibilities for as literacy mentors in a lot of detail. I will also be taking you guys through the tracker that you will be filling for. So the daily tracker we looked at in the orientation already. In today's session, I will also show you what the assessment tracker looks like. This assessment tracker is basically something that you will be filling fortnightly. Every time we send out an assessment paper that the kids need to solve, they will be solving and sending the papers to you, sending the papers back to you, and you will be sort of checking that on a tracker. Like, you will check it and then you will put the marks on the tracker. So that also I will be covering. Yeah, so it's just going to be like I mean, a deep dive into into your responsibilities, and yeah, and a little bit about the tracker. I will now try screen sharing again. Okay. Wait. Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Rashmi. Great.
Let me know when I have to change, okay?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Thank you so much. You can present, right? Huh? You can skip this, Rashmi. Yeah, cool. So guys, I actually just wanted to start by sharing the vision that we have for you guys as mentors, right? And our vision is just to empower you as mentors to give constant and targeted feedback to our children on a daily basis, which will actually help them in growing at the right pace. Because something that we touched upon in the orientation also is that all our children are at different starting points in terms of their needs and in terms of their knowledge. So in just helping each child grow at the right pace becomes really crucial for us, right? Because of the learning loss that they've suffered, we need all the help we can get. So that is the vision that we hold for you guys as a very important stakeholders in our children's learning now. So that's something that I wanted to start off with, like just the support vision that we have for you guys. So that we know why we're here and we know what purpose we are serving, right? And Rashmi, you can click once. Yeah, I also just wanted to quickly chalk out the daily tasks that you guys will be doing. So this was already shared in the orientation, but just quickly taking you through it once again. So one is just routine feedback on the child's RC and math homework. So whatever RC basically is English, it's reading comprehension. So we call English RC in our class. So that's why RC. So you will be giving routine feedback, daily feedback on their work, whatever mistakes they've made, you're gonna correct and give feedback. Reading a story together is something that you're doing for their initial additional practice, I mean. And yeah, last one actually it's not updated, but I'll share basically. This is not reading out a short story. It's basically if you are working with a child from group 1, then it will be learning sight words. If you're working with a child from group 2, I will tell you what these groups mean in a minute. And if you're working with a child from group 2, then you will be making them learn new words every day. And if you're working with a child with in group 3, then it's more of just constant feedback and practice, because they are fluent readers. I will talk more about the groups in a minute. Rashmi, you can scroll click again. Yeah. And this is something that you can do on a weekly basis, just updating the parents about their child's progress in that week. So whatever homework that the child did or did not do, you are making sure that you're keeping the parents in the loop as well, so that they are aware of what's happening, right? And something that you're also free to do is an additional session. So it can be an extracurricular class or a co-curricular class if you're interested in that. And or it can even be an extra class for English or math if you feel like there's a need for it, right? So that's something that you're free to do on your own. Correct. By the way, Rashmi, I can open the deck now, so you can stop sharing. I'll share now. Thank you so much, Rashmi. Amazing. Now I can share. Thank you, Rashmi. Great. So yeah, so now that we have sort of looked at just what we will be like doing on a daily and a weekly basis, let's talk a little bit about the levels that we have in our class for English, right? So like I said earlier as well, like we are a very, very diverse class. We have needs, we have children with diverse needs. So we have a range in our class, right? We have emergent readers, children in the emergent. I'm also going to be sharing characteristics of each bucket, like what does a child in each bucket look like, and what does that child struggle with, and what does that particular child do very well, right? So that you can understand what the challenges are. So in English, we have a range of levels, reading levels starting from 0 all the way to 5.5, and we have sort of divided those reading levels into categories, right? So the reading level of level 0 to level 1 becomes our emergent readers, level 1.5 to 2 becomes our beginners, level 2.5 to 3 becomes our children who are medium on readiness, like who can read but struggle to read unfamiliar words and text, and last is our fluent reading bucket, like kids who can read text very fluently, right? Now I'm just going to talk about the characteristics of each bucket, and if just to make this a little interactive, I would love it if one of you could read the characteristics of a child in the emergent reading bucket. So anyone who would like to read for us just the characteristics, and we go ahead.
Struggles to mix sounds to say complex words, struggles to read short sentences, lack basic vocabulary, face difficulty in comprehending stories without pictures, have no writing skills.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tanvi. So these are some characteristics and things that these kids struggle with and like their challenges, right? Let's now talk about the beginners. What do they struggle with? What are their challenges? Anyone else, whoever is interested, can you quickly raise your hand or just directly come off mute and read so that we can be more interactive?
May I?
Go ahead, Sarsh.
Okay, so for beginners level, it's struggle to pronounce unfamiliar words, don't have enough vocabulary, need support in comprehending what they are reading, and write broken sentences.
Perfect. So you see that they're a little bit better off in terms of their pronunciation and like just the ability to mix sounds, but they struggle a lot when it comes to comprehending what they're reading and even writing their thoughts. That's something that's really difficult. Going to the medium on readiness bucket now, this is really self-explanatory, so I'm going through it fast. Yeah, anyone can come off mute and read. Shreya, Nishka, anyone? Going to wait. Shreya,
Yeah.
I can see you're off mute. Go ahead.
Yeah, they are able to comprehend compound sentences. They can also infer meanings of slightly difficult words and passages by finding clues, struggle to decode longer questions, struggle to understand unfamiliar topics, struggle to write more than a few sentences at a stretch.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Shreya. So again, we are seeing like they have different set of challenges, like they struggle to find the meaning of like complex words or like vocabulary words in the text because they don't have the ability to find clues to guess the meaning of the word. So that's something they struggle with, and they cannot write long sentences and paragraphs basically. And last is fluent readers. Anyone, whoever is remaining, or if anyone wants to read again, that's also fine. Quickly, let's do this really quickly.
Should I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay, so they're able to comprehend compound and complex sentences well. They don't have the stamina to read a lot at once. They sometimes get stuck when they're faced with uncommon vocabulary words, and they're able to write basic sentences. And they struggle to express themselves in a higher order question.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Rishka. So we have looked at the characteristics of children in each bucket, right? And keeping exactly this in mind, we have 3 buckets in our class. Okay, so we have narrowed this down to 3 buckets, right? The first bucket is the LOR bucket, which means low on readiness children. So the short form is LOR. Then the medium on readiness children comprises our MOR bucket. So that's medium on readiness. And the last one is the fluent readers, which comes under our HOR bucket, which is high on readiness. So that's how we've divided our children, our 57 students into 3 buckets, and we provide support based on which bucket they're in, because they have different needs. So that's how we cater to all of them. So you guys also have been mapped to, all kinds of buckets, and you will find the buckets of your children on the tracker. So there's a column that I have added. So you can see the bucket of each child. So when you open the tracker, you'll see a child's name. You can write next to that name, it's written HOR, MOR, LOR. So you know that this child is an LOR or MOR, HOR, right? So that's where you'll get that information from, right? So now I'm going to deep dive into challenges and support and what you need to do, correct? Okay, so here are whatever struggles that we just looked at in the previous slide. I have put them down in a list form, right? Everything that you saw, struggling to mix sounds, struggling to read short sentences, lacking vocabulary, everything, all of that has been put down on the left as in the struggles column. Now I want to show you how we tackle each struggle in our class, like what are some strategies that we use. So what is the support that we give to cater to each kind of struggle, correct? So for the first 3, basically, struggling to make sounds and saying words, struggling to read short sentences, and lacking basic vocabulary. For these struggles, we have support which involves doing phonics and sight words, right? And vocabulary drills. So basically what this means is something I will deep dive into right after I finish this slide. So don't worry if you feel like these are new words which you don't know about. But this is what we do to cater to the first 3 struggles, right? Constant practice of alphabets and sounds and vocabulary, exposure to vocabulary helps, and drills. Now going to the next set. Next set is struggling to read more than a few sentences and struggling to comprehend longer sentences. For this, what the kind of support that we provide is just daily reading, because we feel like if the child practices reading on a daily basis, then it becomes something that the child is really used to doing. Then it just becomes easier and easier, and it becomes very natural for them to read and comprehend at the same time, right? And make sense of it in their head. And just to help them improve on their comprehension skills, we do a lot of feedback. Like we constantly help them, support them while they're reading, and help them in understanding the text, and constantly giving them feedback on what they're understanding helps a lot. And last is for challenges like, there's a very new word in the text, like suppose convoluted is a word that in the text which the child is struggling to understand. Then for that, we teach our children how to infer with the help of clues, right? So if I see a sentence which says that basically if there's a difficult sentence in difficult word in a sentence, then how may I use the context of that sentence to understand what that word means, right? So that's basically inferring with the help of clues, which is something we do a lot as a practice in our class, right? So this is what the framework looks like. We're going to touch upon each of them quickly, just for you to get an idea of how we approach literacy, right? If this is making sense and you are understanding, just give me a thumbs up, because I feel like I'm going a little fast, but that's because I know that you guys have engaged with training. So I am leveraging that. Okay. Great. Amazing. Please, at any point, if you feel like Gargi, you're too fast, just please tell me. Yeah. Okay, great. So I will now share what this actually looks like in action. Okay, so we looked at the framework. We know what support we have for each bucket, but now what does this even mean, right? So phonics, let's start with that. It's really simple. So here are some strategies we use for phonics, right? So first thing is just helping children see a word, see an alphabet, and know the sound of the alphabet in their head. And for that, what we do is constant drills. So like ABCD, like A to Z is written in the first picture. So constantly telling them that, okay, A sound is A, B, G, D, A, G, like basically a drill where we keep going over the sounds of each alphabet, and we do it as a drill every single day. That really helps in registering the sounds. Sight words are words they see very frequently in sentences, and just constantly reading those words again and again, and practicing like the pronunciation of the 1 second. Yeah, practicing the pronunciation of the sounds of the words really helps children in reading sentences faster and quicker. And blending and segmenting is a technique that we use to say mix sounds together to say a word. So suppose a word is blackboard. So if a child who's struggling a lot with mixing sounds might find it difficult to read blackboard at in one go. So what helps is chunking the word, right? Like breaking blackboard into 3 parts. So first just reading black, then board. So basically chunking and mixing is called blending and segmenting, which is something we do with our children so that they can actually read any word by breaking it in smaller parts, right? So this is what phonics and sight word drills look like in action. Okay. Moving to the next one, because this is fairly simple and self-explanatory. This is basically vocabulary drill. So this is for children who are at a beginners or an emergent reading level, like children who don't have the basic vocabulary, like they don't know days of the week or months of the year or color words or like family words, like all of these things they don't know. For them, we use flashcards where we put the picture of the word and the word below it, and we show the picture. I mean, we show them the flashcard and basically then remove the word and just show them the picture and basically just play around that so that they can look at the picture and match a word to it. Just those techniques really help. And even drills, right? Like maybe on a certain day, you could do all days of the week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then you could do it repeatedly as a practice, as a fun practice. This really helps children in registering vocabulary words when they are just beginning to read. So this is for vocabulary, very basic vocabulary. This can also be used at an advanced level, like even if a child is a very good reader and can comprehend everything, maybe something that can be done for that child is sharing a word of the day. Every day you share 2 new words of the day and you make them write it down in their notebooks and make them maybe create a sentence out of it. So if the word of the day is inspirational, then you make a sentence using inspirational so that they practice it as well. That's something that can be done even for children who read well. Yeah, so this is what it looks like in action, phonics and vocabulary drills. Tell me if this is making sense, guys, so far. Guys, let me know. Okay, just share a thumbs up if you think that you're clear, or if you have any questions, just ask. This is for you. This space is for you only, so leverage it. Okay, amazing. Thank you. Seeing a lot of thumbs ups now. Thanks. That really helps. Okay. Now let's talk about Bridge, right? You guys are here as Bridge volunteers. You are here to support us in implementing the Bridge curriculum. So how we have implemented the curriculum is for our LOR children, like children who are low on readiness. So the Bridge curriculum has 3 sets. I don't know if you know this, but the Bridge curriculum has 3 sets: set A, set B, and set C. So for our LOR children, the low on readiness children, we are using set A. Okay, for our medium on readiness children, we are using set B. And for our high on readiness children, we are actually using set C because set C is quite high rigor. It's quite difficult. So we are using pieces of it with our high on readiness children, although they don't need that much support. So, but we're still leveraging the resource that we have. Okay, so now volunteers, when you go back to the tracker and you see your children's like buckets, LOR, HOR, MOR, you will automatically know that, okay, fine, that means I have to engage with set A, right? Because my child is in LOR, so I'll be engaging with set A. So for all the set A volunteers, this is what your first task looks like. The first daily task of yours, which is learning sight words. So how will you do that? What you need to do, so this is for all set A volunteers. Right now, you might not know your set, so just focus for all of them. And then you can later just focus on your set of responsibilities, right? So for all your LOR children, this is what you will do every day or every other day. You will be getting this list of words for a certain week over here. This is a list of words for a certain week. Every day you can do 2 to 3 words or even more than that. If you feel like your child wants to do more, then you can maybe do 5 words as well. But the idea is to do at least a couple of words every single day. The process involves you explaining the word using either a picture, or if it's a word like you really can't give a picture for it. What you can give is an example, right? I am a boy or you are a girl. That's how you can tell them that this is how is used. and you're doing 2 to 3 or maybe more than that words every single day, and you're helping the child in memorizing the meaning or usage of those words, right? And at the end of the week, what you can do, once you're done with all 10 words at the end of the week, you are doing a spelling test with them, so that they are also knowing how to write those words on paper. So once you've covered a decent amount of words by the end of the week, you are doing a test where you're maybe calling them up, saying the word, and they're writing the words down and sending you a picture on WhatsApp later. So this is what your first thing looks like, which is learning sight words. This is for set A. Give me a thumbs up if this is clear, if this is simple to understand. You will get this PDF after the call. So yeah, everything that you need to have, you will have it. Okay, solid. Now set B. Now, if you are a set B volunteer, so this is for MOR children, medium on readiness. For this, what you need to do is, it's a little bit advanced now from the set A stuff, right? Because these are kids who can read, but struggle to read longer and unfamiliar words and etc. So for them, what you are focusing on is short and long vowel sounds. So things like short and long A, like when to say, so like over here, this one, this section, if you see, pan, P-A-N, pan, and P-A-N-E is not pan-A, it's pain, right? So this is something that sometimes our MOR children don't get, because they don't know short and long A. So things like that. So short and long vowel sounds, digraphs, things like that is what they need to work on in order to read a text fluently or correctly. So there are also some videos which you can watch if you don't know these terms like short and long vowels or digraphs and everything. There are videos attached to the PDF which you can engage with to understand what these terms mean. Okay, it's like 2 to 3 minute videos which you can quickly watch to understand, and then you will know what it means. It's pretty simple, like it's all things we do on a daily basis, we say on a daily basis. So over here also, same process you're following. You're giving the child 2 to 3 words every day. If you feel like your child can do more, feel free to give them 5 as well. And you're helping them understand the meaning. So what is the meaning of over? What is the meaning of put? Put matlab rakhna, right? Take matlab lena, things like that. You're explaining the meaning of it. And then at the end of the week, you're doing a spelling test. So very, very similar. The idea is for children to know these words really well and understand these complexities in fluency, like short and long vowel sounds, digraphs, and all that blends and everything. Yeah, so this is the idea of set B, like the first task, which is learning sight words. Yeah, it's pretty similar to the last one. So I'm assuming that it must be clear. Okay, I'll move to the I'll move to the next section now, the set C volunteers. Now, whoever is in set C, your children actually are at a point where they don't need this kind of support, like they are at a good enough level. So for them, you will actually utilize all your time in a day or in 2 days to give them feedback on how they're writing, or to give them feedback on their reading, and if they have questions on comprehension, because they don't need this word specific support. They actually are in a position where they can read pretty well. So for them, all the set C volunteers, all the HOR volunteers, you will actually be spending most of your time in just giving them feedback on their writing, correcting their grammar, telling them what tenses, pronouns, those things, because their grammar is all over the place, but their comprehension is strong, right? So that is what you're going to be focusing on. So this task doesn't apply to you. Set C, it doesn't apply to you. The first task, I mean, learning sight words one. Yeah, so this is where we end the first one, which is learning sight words. Now I'm going to go to the next task. If you don't have any questions, so just let me know, give me an indication to move ahead. Okay, great, seeing thumbs ups. Amazing, a lot of thumbs ups I'm seeing, so I'm taking it as an indication to move ahead. So we have looked at the first two, right, in a lot of details. We understood what phonics means. We understood what vocabulary drills mean and what purpose they serve. It's the point of this meeting is not to make you literacy experts by the end of the call, but the purpose is just for you to see what our plan is, right? What our action plan is, because you guys, all of you can, I mean, research is something, I mean, this will take a minute for you to Google and figure out, but you just need to understand what our plan is and what we're trying to do, so that we're aligned on that. And then our approach can be unique to us. That's not something that that should be, you know, like, I mean, it should be done in a certain way. Now we're done with this. Now we're moving to the next bit. Cool. Now I'm actually going to talk about the next few things, like how to even give feedback, right? Like we've talked a lot about giving feedback and helping children understand where they're going wrong, but how to do that. So for that, I actually want to show you how we teach English in our class, right? So the two strategies that we follow very, very religiously. The first one is self-monitoring, and second one is inferring with the help of clues. So self-monitoring basically means, in very simple words, that whenever you're reading a text, whenever you're reading a text, you're stopping after every 2 sentences and you're translating the text in your mind in Hindi. You are annotating, that means you're marking and drawing, drawing certain things or writing translations to understand that text better before you move ahead. This helps our children a lot. Otherwise, what they do, if we don't push them to stop and annotate, what they do is they'll read a page in literally 10 seconds and they'll not understand a thing, because they'll read everything, they'll skim, but they will not stop to comprehend. This is something that comes to us very naturally because we're adults and we're very fluent with English, but it's very difficult for our children because English is something they don't speak or they don't engage with at all beyond the classroom. Very little, basically. So self-monitoring helps a lot, and inferring with the help of clues is basically trying to understand the meaning of a certain word with the help of the context of that sentence. So I will actually show you what self-monitoring looks like in action. I just want you to be able to visualize this. So I will actually model out a very short text. This is exactly how I model things in class. So when I'm teaching my children, this is how I teach them. So just pretend that you're my class. Okay, so I'm going to refer to myself as Gargi Didi. Yeah, so just focus on how I'm self-monitoring. Yeah, so this is a text that I have picked up and I'm reading it for my class, and I'm going to show you how self-monitoring works. So I'll start now. Xenia is a student who lives in Philadelphia, and she knows how it feels to be bullied. Didi is going to stop here. Didi is going to quickly self-monitor. What did I understand? So Xenia sounds like a name. Xenia ek naam jaisa lag raha hai. So maybe Xenia is a character in the story, right? Xenia is a name and she's a student. I know what student is because I am also a student. I also study in 6th standard. So I'm a student who lives. I know lives ka matlab kya hota hai? Lives meaning rehna, right? So I know that lives. So maybe she lives in. I know lives in matlab maybe Philadelphia. It's a new word. I don't know what it means, but I'm guessing that she lives in Philadelphia. So I'm guessing maybe Philadelphia matlab ho sakta hai jagah. It can be a place, right? So Didi is making Didi is annotating and Didi is making a place ka drawing because it's a place. It's like I live in Govandi, I live in Mumbai. So Philadelphia is a place where Xenia lives. Makes sense. And she knows matlab pata. She knows how it feels. I know feels is feeling, feels to be bullied. Now Didi told me in the beginning of the class that bullying means pareshan karna, to trouble. So I know bullying means to trouble someone. So now Xenia knows how it feels to be bullied. Children, now I'm going to read ahead. Children have made fun of her clothes. One classmate even stole her tiffin. Bullying is not a joke. Didi is going to self-monitor for this also. Children, I know children means bache. They have made fun. I know fun. May have made fun meaning they are not talking to her properly. They are making jokes about her. Of what? What are they making jokes about? They're making jokes about her clothes. Kapde. I know clothes means kapde. One classmate. One matlab one. Ek classmate is someone who studies with me. Even stole. Now I don't know what stole means. So I will take help of the sentence and I'll try to understand. Even stole her tiffin. So now what are we talking about? We're talking about bullying. Bullying means pareshan karna. Classmate matlab bachcha. Stole. Tiffin ke saath kya karega? What will that child do with the tiffin? Maybe he's taking the tiffin without asking Xenia, because that's what bullying means. So maybe stole ka meaning ho sakta hai to take without asking. So Didi is going to annotate and write to take without asking. Bullying is not a joke. That means the text is telling me that bullying is not a joke. It's not a mazak nahi hai. Okay, so I have understood. Yeah, so that's how I self-monitor, guys, in the class. Was that helpful to know? Like, was that helpful to observe? Just the process of how we tackle literacy. Thanks, Tanvi, Shreya, Ananya, Saharsh. Okay, amazing. So Thank you. Great. So this is how we like read. It's called active reading. Like when you read and think at the same time, right? And we make it very, very explicit. Like we annotate, we keep making our thinking visible, and that is how we push our children also to read, so that they're understanding every word that they're reading. Yeah. So this is what self-monitoring means. I also did a little bit of context clue, right? Like to figure out the meaning of stole, I used the sentences help to to understand. So that was that. Now I'll move ahead. Okay, yeah, so I think now we are pretty clear on what self-monitoring means and what finding the meaning of words with the help of clues means. So actually I'm going to skip this part, because this is also something that I prepared for you guys, just for you to see how to use clues to find the meaning of words. So suppose the word is abhorrent over here and you have to find the meaning. So yeah, you can look for clues, read before the word, read after the word, look for clues and then make a guess, so that you can figure out the meaning. So yeah, this is something that I prepared just as an additional thing to show you. But I feel like you guys are clear with it, so I'm going to move ahead. Okay. Great. So actually now we are done with just looking at everything that you guys need to do. So the first thing that we learned is just what literacy entails and what are the different challenges that we have in the class. Then we looked at what learning sight words will mean for you. I also showed you what self-monitoring is. So every time now you're giving feedback to a child, what you can push them to do is self-monitor in front of you, so that you can see where the breakdown is happening. Like what is it that the child couldn't do because of which their answer came wrong? Was it the question that they did not understand, or was it the text? So just self-monitoring is something that will be helpful for you to know, so that you can give the right kind of explanations wherever. So in summary, just to put this all together for you, we have 3 buckets, correct? Low on readiness, medium on readiness, and high on readiness. Right now, just going to bring back the challenges of each bucket. The low on readiness children are, for them, what we do, like actually not challenges, the support that we are providing them. So for low on readiness children, we are offering these 3 things. The first is identifying and pronouncing simple sight words to improve their reading fluency, which is what we saw in set A. Then helping them understand text better through self-monitoring, which I showed you just now, and just reading simple stories with them. This is what we are doing for our LORs. For our medium on readiness children, what we are doing is we're helping them decode bigger words by finding clues, right? We're also helping them understand long vowels and all of that. We're helping them understand text again through self-monitoring. Self-monitoring is constant in all buckets. It's something that all our kids need help with, and helping them read stories. And last is high on readiness children. For them, we are offering constant feedback on their writing and pushing their thinking a lot, so that their grammar is perfect and they're thinking deeply. We're helping them crack the meaning of difficult new words and texts. And we are, again, reading stories with them. So this is what it looks like in a nutshell. We've looked at everything in different parts of the training, and we will just do a very quick 2-minute practice, so that whatever we've learned, we are able to also apply it, right? So this is a sample which I have put on screen. I want us to think about how we will go about giving feedback to the child on this particular answer that they have written. So take a minute. To look at the question and the answer that the child has written, and tell me how you will go about giving feedback. You can come off mute and share also. Okay, there's a question on chat. Tanvi, you asked, how do we annotate? Tanvi, would you like to give voice to that question? I'm not sure if I understood your question correctly.
Like when you said that that when you were showing that story of Xenia, and like a small house was
Correct.
like, so all that animations, how did that come? Is
Ha,
that
ha.
like
So
already?
animation is something that, I mean, it's a pre-planned thing. I mean, I plan my annotations. So I prepare the whole modeling. But what you can do is you don't need to do such fancy stuff. If you're suppose on a Zoom call with the child, you can just use
Mhm.
annotation feature, right? So if suppose I'm
In the Zoom?
right?
Okay.
Suppose I'm on a call with a child, so I'm a volunteer, and I want them to understand the question. So I'll say, okay, let's read it together. How do you think Bobby felt when he went to the barn the morning after he heard the screeching noise? Didi is going to stop here. How matlab kaise? So that I'm going to annotate. Kaise? How do you think? Matlab think matlab sochna, right? How do you think? Bobby is a character, so Didi is writing C. How do you think Bobby felt? I know felt meaning feeling, right? So it's a feeling. So I'm going to draw a heart. So what am I doing? I'm basically annotating live. So that's also something that you can do if you're on a Zoom call with them. Or since they all know what annotations are very, very well. So even if you're on a phone call with them, you can only get them to annotate in their notebook, right? So you can say, Abhi how padhana, Abhi how ka annotation hota hai, how ka Hindi hota hai kaise. So I want you to write down kaise in your worksheet. When he went to the barn. So barn maybe can be a place because he's going there, right? So it's a place. So I'm going to draw a house because it's a place. So I'm basically doing it live. Yeah. So that was just something to show you guys, but just feel free to, yeah, do it. I mean, it doesn't have to be that neat. I was just showing you an example. Yeah. Is that helpful, Tanvi?
Yeah, ma'am, I got it. So, but ma'am, in this question and in the Google form that you gave, in that also like words like barn or Philadelphia are quite specific. So how do we make them
True.
understand the specific, like that this is not a home, barn is like a farm. So how can you
Correct.
explain to that very specific context?
True. It's very tough, right? That is why what is helpful is just to know the main idea. Like it's okay if they don't know that barn is a farm. They don't need to know that information to answer the question. All they need to know is that Bobby went somewhere when he heard the screeching noise. That's all. And they need to know it like very roughly. And suppose kids who struggle, it's okay if they don't understand. That's why I just said place hai. Barn is a place. Like I didn't even bother going beyond that because it's too much for the children. It's too much for them. It's a language they don't know. So that's why we do clues. Like how do you think he felt when he went? Matlab jana means he went somewhere. So jagah ka naam hoga. Now I don't know what barn is and that's not relevant. But all I know is it's a place. So I can answer the question. That's all. So for things like that, and then later on you can tell them once the feedback is over, you tell them, but now write in your notebook, we learned a new word, barn matlab farm. So that next time when they see it, they know what it means. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please don't call me ma'am Tanvi. I just the guy. Great.
Habit of calling everyone. Sorry.
Yeah, it's too much pressure. Okay. Yeah, and I saw one more question on the chat. Sorry, I was not looking at the chat, guys. You will know your set, your kids ka set from the same tracker that I showed you last time. So over there, I have added a sheet. Sorry, I've added a column. Anyone would like to share how you will go about giving feedback? Like what is it that you will do first? What is it that you will do second? Anyone, you can even come off mute and share. Okay, so I think that we are a little low on energy, so I'll only share so that we can wind up very, very fast, right? So something that you can do over here in order to offer quality feedback, the first thing that you can check for is whether the child understood the question. Okay, so most common breakdowns are that the child didn't understand the question or didn't understand the story properly, and because of that they're not able to write it. Okay, then instead of explain after you've found out what the problem is, if it's the question or the passage, then you, instead of you telling them the question ka meaning in Hindi, help them out by self-monitoring, which is something I showed you some time back, and then get them to annotate on their own. So you help them by self-monitoring and then make them annotate and then show them a better way for answers. Now discuss the answer to, if the child is really struggling to say in English, you discuss the answer with them in Hindi, then help them out in putting the answer in English in better words. So help them with the with the vocabulary that they need to write the sentence properly. So these are some things that you can keep in mind just to offer quality feedback. If this is making sense, guys, let me know. I'll quickly go to the last part. We're almost done. Sorry for the slight delay. may I request you to stay for 5 more minutes? That we will be done in 5 minutes. I know that I requested till 8:15, but if 5 minutes work for you, just tell me. Otherwise, yeah, we can figure out an alternative as well. Great. Just 5 minutes. Okay. Thank you. I'll quickly rush through it now. Now I'll just share our class. So classroom homework logistics. Basically, we have a Google Classroom. We have made a Google Classroom where we put up all the homework. So I just want to show you the interface. Like I'm sure you guys know about Google Classroom. We use that where we put up all the homework, for all the children. So I'll just show you that in 1 minute so that you're aware. You can also join the Google Classroom as students. So I'll share the class code with you and you will get like access to all the homework. Right, so our classroom is called Learners for Change, and here is all the homework: mathematics, science, English. So here is like, this is how we put up the homework. We've written date in every assignment so that if the kid misses some day ka assignment, they can go back and check. Right, and group 1, group 2, group 3 is basically, group 1 is our HORs. So kids who are fluent readers, there's a Google form which has been shared with them. So they need to complete this Google form and submit it. And what you guys do then is that we give you the editing access of the form. So you have access to the responses of the child and you can look at that to give them quick feedback, right? So this is how feedback giving works. This is how the logistics work, right? So group 1, group 2, group 3, the homework is differentiated. Matlab the homework is different for different groups because of the kind of needs that each bucket has. So group 1 is your HOR. Group 2 is your MOR and group 3 is your LOR. So that's the homework logistics. I just wanted to show it to you so that you know how it happens in our class, right? And just last thing that we are going to do is I'll just quickly show you the bridge assessment tracker that you will be filling. So these are assessment papers which we'll be giving to our kids every 15 days. So in the coming week, they will get a bridge assessment, which will be a 10-mark test. It will be a very short 10-mark test, which the child will be completing. Something that we will definitely try to do is give them a physical question paper so that they can write their answers on a physical question paper and then send you a picture of the question paper only, right? And you will get the paper and you will put the marks over here. Suppose over here, all your students' names will be there in the same order that is there in the tracker. Suppose I am Shreya. Okay, random example I'm saying. So I'll put another column here for volunteer. Volunteer name. So I am Shreya and one of my kids is Asad. Okay, so how I'm going to fill up the tracker is that my name will be here. So the volunteer's name will be here, Shreya. Here the student ID will be present and here Asad, the student's name. Now I will go from here. So question number 1, if the child got a 1, I'll write 1. If the child got the question right, if not, I'll mark 0 and I'll just enter the marks. That's all I need to do for 1 to 10. Sorry, I put, yeah. So it's 1, 0, 1, 0, whatever it is. You can also give them 0.5 if they were partially right. That's fine. You will get an answer key from us. So you will just need to look at the answer key and look at the answers of the child and give them marks. And over here, the mastery will be automatically recorded. So this is what you will be doing every 15 days, right? So this is how the process goes. Okay, so this is about the tracker filling. So level 1, level 2, level 3. So basically level 1 is set A. I will rename this tab, these tabs also set A. So all the set A volunteers will enter their marks here, and set C. Okay. And analysis is something that will happen automatically. So you don't need to worry about that at all. Yeah, that was the bridge assessment tracker. This is what the question paper looks like. Just showing it to you for clarity. It's a question paper made by TFI, Teach for India. So this will be received. This will be given, to the kids. There is a passage they need to read. There are questions that they need to solve. And they will be sending you a picture of it and you have to give them marks out of 10. You will be receiving an answer key to check this so that it's not something that, is based on completely your discretion. It's also standardized. That's it. That brings us to the end of our training. I will just quickly summarize in 30 seconds your next steps. Something that you need to look out for as a next step is, step 1 is, of course, going over the transition document. We will mostly send the transition document to you by tonight if it's completed by the previous volunteers. If not, then tomorrow morning for sure. Then you'll spend some time in understanding the level of your children. So what is the level and the support that you need to give them based on their levels. Step 3, go over your sets in detail. So we'll share the sets ka Google Sheet link with you, so that everything that you need is in one place. So just go over the sets once and see what kind of a schedule you can make for your children. So just put it down for yourself depending on your availability, work hours or college hours, etc. Then, of course, spend some time talking to your children and their families, get to know them, and then finally co-create a schedule with your children. So you know your availability, you know what support you need to give to each child. Then once you have that information and you have spoken to the child, just bring that together and co-create a schedule which works for you and the child the best. Yeah, that's it. That brings us to the end of our training. I know that I extended it a little bit, so I'm sorry about that, but thank you so much for being very patient and engaging. Yeah,